Well, hello my friends, we're back for part 2 of our playthrough of Folklore, the Affliction, and the only small change I made is I've replaced the PowerPoint trackers with just little dice. I have to get everything in camera view, and that was making my life a little bit difficult. So for now, we're going to use these little guys to track us. Not a big deal. We have left the Church of the Crossroads. We had headed out on the way to Wayland Point, and we need to have our first event. We're on the road, so we're going to pull a road event card. We are also in daylight, so we're going to read this half, which is panic. Oh, that's a great start. As the evil afflicting the area increased in power, the citizens fled for their lives. Characters cannot obtain new companions until the start of the next chapter, unless instructed by a story. Keep in play. All right, so we are stuck with our Tinkerer and our Dove for a while until the start of a next chapter. All right, so let's keep this down here just to remind us that's happening. In fact, you know what I might do? I think I'm going to put this over by my companion cards. That way, if I ever go to draw one, I'll see that and realize there's panic happening. I can't do it. I like that. So we've had our event. It now flips to night, and normally we would pass the player token, and let's see, Marion would become our new leader, and she would have a night event. The only problem with 2 players is what's going to happen is that Indy will always get the day events, and Marion will always get the night events, and they tend to be harder. And so I think we might have an imbalance here going back and forth like this. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to let our leaders take a full 24-hour cycle. This is not part of the rules. I'm just doing this because we're only playing 2 players and I don't want one of them to get demolished. So we're going to let Indy stay our leader for the nighttime event. And with our movement to 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, we continue down our path and we get a new road event, but this one we're going to do the night side, which is a vampire bounty. A bearded man approached to ask if we were interested in a bounty for a group of vampires that were inhabiting a home not far away. To accept, skirmish with vampires with their skirmish counter at maximum. He gives you each 25 coins as an additional reward. Ooh, so that sounds pretty tough. Let's take a look at vampires. I feel like we would, being as we are arcanists and an explorer, we would probably have a pretty good idea of how tough vampires are. So let's take a look at the vampire skirmish card and see if this is something we would want to undertake. So your monster cards are very cool. They are double-sided depending on when you encounter them. If you encounter them on a road event, we're just going to do a skirmish. We're not going to set up tiles. We're not going to set up miniatures, no line of sight, no movements, none of that malarkey. This is just a quick little interaction. And for that, we're going to use the side of the card that has these little red highlights, and it clearly says on it, skirmish. If, however, we're not skirmishing but having a full-on encounter, we're going to use the other side of the card. And that's going to depend on how many players we have and what time of day it is, and they're going to have all these additional powers, and we're going to pull out the minis and get the map out and go in to a full-fledged, detailed battle. The skirmish, we're just going to use this side. And so this little thing told us that if we do it, skirmish with the vampires with their skirmish counter at maximum. Okay, so the first thing we would do is roll the dice to see how many vampires we're dealing with. In a 2-person game, the most we could ever have is 4. Excuse me. This is their skirmish value down here. Normally you would roll to see how tough these vampires are. These being very weak and these being very tough. We know, however, that this particular skirmish will be with super strong vampires. They will have 8 hit points. They will do 2 additional damage, and they will have a plus 15 to might. Their skirmish power, lose 2d4 Vita, and 1 random character that was hit is consumed with Bloodlust 4. So 2d4 Vita, that's kind of a lot, especially considering we're at 20 right now. And we're playing it on dusk level, so we're playing it on the easiest level, so they don't have any bonuses here, but their defense is 60, which means we're going to have to roll pretty high to even hit them. And with this much damage and might, we're not ready for this. We're not ready to take on full powered vampires. I don't think that's what we want our first fight to be. So as much as I hate the idea of leaving these behind, I don't think we're quite ready for this level of skirmish. So luckily, this was a may accept. We're going to politely decline. So let's not take on this road event. All right. That was the day and the night. So we're going to give this now to Marion. It is a new day. And it says in our little book here, on the second day of travel, that's today, before reaching Wayland's Point, read the following instead of having a road event. So instead of having her take us into Wayland Point on the second day of travel, we are going to do a story skill check. Clouds blot out the sun and it grows colder despite the light breeze subsiding. Birds stop chirping and you find yourself surrounded by an eerie silence. A choir of voices, at once both haunting and soothing, come at you from all sides, starting as a low, incoherent whisper and crescendoing into deafening chorus. All right, we sense Argus on you. You carry something of him. Pass it to us. The last syllable extends into a serpentine hiss, and ghostly appendages peer out of the shadows, palms upturned and waiting. So we have our first skill check. We need to do speech 8, any one character. So we get to decide who has a better speech. Unfortunately, neither of our characters have a special ability for speech. Archaeology, awareness, trickery. That's what Indy's running. And Marion is archaeology, nerve, occult. So we have no speech bonus. And nothing we own gives us a speech bonus. We're very tricky though. All right. So let's see how we do. And just to make life easier, I'm going to assign my characters colored dice so we can just roll everyone together. Marion's going to be brown. Indy's going to be blue. I feel like he's going to do the talking for the team right now, although she is the leader. We're going to let Marion do it. She is the leader. And it's a speech check 8. 9. Oh, she manages to outtalk them. Success. Despite your protestations of peace and goodwill, the dead want their prize. Skirmish with restless spirit at max vita -2. All right, so even though we succeeded, we're still going into a fight. If we had failed, we would be skirmishing at a max value. So, there was some benefit. And it says, before the skirmish, make another skill check. Okay. And this time, our skill check required is faith. And it's all of our characters. Facing an unimaginable evil, your faith is tested as you ready yourself for battle. So they both need to make this skill check. And let's see if their faith holds. They both roll 1s. So I'm going to say that's a fail. We failed. You have the chilling realization that the dead have risen and haunt your friend, and now you become spooked 7. So even before this skirmish starts, we are spooked. This is not good. This is not good. We do have these wonderful little status cards, and one of them is spooked. We can resist it using nerve, which none of us have. Okay. Your confidence has been shattered. Receive -5 might and -1 nerve. Pass nerve 5 at the end of any combat. 1 attempt each combat to remove this status. So I'm assuming here that spooked only is going to last as long as we're in this skirmish. Once we're done with this skirmish, I think spook is going to fall off. And if we were in not a skirmish but an encounter and we had many rounds, we would be rolling to try and shake off this spooked ability. But for now, both of them have been spooked. So -5 to might, -1 to nerve. All right. All right, so because this is our first skirmish, let's sort of zoom in and walk through how we set this up slowly. So we found our restless spirits. We have it to the side of the card that says skirmish. And then there's this very nice little card that walks you through how you set up your skirmishes. And the first thing we're going to do is determine strength. We're going to look up here to the character count, and we would normally roll this in the case of a two-person game, a d4, and see how many restless spirits are we going up against. 3. So that means we would put our marker down here on a 3, and that would then tell us the strength of our relative monsters. However, we have a little bit of an override here because we did this speech skill check and we won it. Because we have a success, we're going to skirmish with restless spirits at maximum vitae -2. So if we look up here, the maximum number of, or the maximum vitae of our spirits that could possibly be rolled is a 4. Take 2 away, which means we're going to be down here, boom, going up against restless spirits with only 2 vitae. Much easier to do. They have no modifiers on them, so they don't get any real bonuses. So we're not going to use the outcome of this little die because the actual scenario told us differently. So we've done our determination of strength. Now we're going to place the skirmish marker. We did that. We're going to note any modifiers. There aren't any. Great. The next is to decide, are our characters going to be attacking or defending? And that's where these cool little double-sided tokens. Before you go into battle, you must decide your stance. Attack will let you just wallop away. Defense, however, will take away your might. Your might goes down by 10, but your defense rating goes up by 10 as well. So you're harder to hit, but you do less damage. And we get to decide which one we want to put our characters on before we move into battle. We have a bunch of little modifiers, though, that we're going to have to remember and sort of keep to the forefront of our mind, all right? Now, determining their might, you have to look at the whole board, take everything into account. Run a little bit of math and let me walk through you what I came up with. Indy himself has a bonus of +3 to might under his attributes, all right? Fabulous. He also gets +8 because he happens to be traveling with a tinkerer. I guess his sword is magnificent, or his whip is maintained in impeccable amount of oiling and coiling. So he's going to add +8 to his might because of his tinkerer friend. However, we failed our nerve test, and we remember we're spooked by these dead, which gives us a -5 to our might. So after we run all the numbers, Indy's might is sitting at a whopping 6. Marion also has a base of +3 to her might. Her little stiletto, however, gives her a +4. She is also spooked, though, so that's a -5, leaving her with a might of only 2, okay? So that's how you kind of figure out where you stand on might. In addition, you will also have to think about what that means as far as hitting or attacking these restless spirits. Their defense is sitting at a 42, which means we have to beat that on a percentage roll, all right? And we're going to add to that our might. So we're going to add 6 in the case of Indy and only 2 in the case of Marion. If we decide to send both of these guys on defense, our might becomes negative, which means not good if we're trying to hit them. So for now, I don't think we need to go into defensive posture quite yet. We're fresh on the road. We haven't taken any wounds. These restless spirits aren't that bad. They're only a 2 hit and done. So let's go ahead and have both of our people set to attack. Now, creatures are always going to start off any kind of a skirmish, and we're going to roll the attack dice for them, which is a percentile dice. And we're going to be comparing that to our defense. So let me just move this over here so you can kind of see what's going on for Indy. And we'll come over here and we will move in Marion as well. She's attacking. He's attacking. There he is. Hello, my dude. And the first thing we're going to do is see how well these restless spirits roll. Straight percentage dice. And it's a 53. We're going to check and see if there's any modifiers that we have to do. So there aren't any modifiers due to their strength down here. It does say, however, for the skirmish power, if the total attack roll of the restless spirit is 80 plus, we are going to lose 1d6 Vita. Otherwise, lose 1d4. So right off the bat, this little restless spirit is going to drain us for 1d4 Vita. That's not good. In addition, we have to check and see if they hit us. And our defense is 36 for Mr. Indy, so he's going to take a hit. And Marion is only a 37, so she is also going to take a hit. All right. If it's equal to or greater. So in case of a tie, you still lose in this game. Those hit by the creatures that would be affected by the skirmish power, plus any modifiers, each character makes their own roll for damage and status effects. So, because that wasn't an 80, they're both going to be hit by 1d4 Vita. They're each going to make their own rolls. So let's see how they fare with this spirit. A 1 and a 1. Nicely done. So they each only take 1 point of damage. Not a problem. We could tick that down. Now it's our turn to hit back. So we're going to roll our percentage dice. We're going to add any might bonuses they have. And if our roll is equal to or greater the target's defense, they succeed in hitting. Keep track of the number of successful hits. Okay. Our restless spirits are sitting at a defense of 42. Team Indy, ooh, very nicely done. So we have a 75 roll. I think I ticked that from a 90. And an 87. So wow, they both hit and they hit hard. That's without even adding their might modifiers, which was, I think, what was it? 6 for Indy and 2 for Marion, right? So they came out swinging. There are special rolls if you manage to roll 100. We didn't, so that's fine. We'll take the hits that we can take, and we get to reduce the skirmish counter by the number of successful attacks made by each character. Each devastating strike, that's 100, reduces it by 2. There were 2 of us. We're going to walk 1, 2, and we managed to eradicate these restless spirits. So after our successful skirmish, we get a couple of rewards. First, it'll say down here, coins 6. Now both characters are going to be given 6 coins each. And after a successful skirmish, we can perform a search for each unique creature. On a D10 10 plus, they find an item. Characters that were forced to skirmish. Okay, so we went up against one type of creature, our restless spirit, and if we can get higher than a 10, we find ourselves a unique item. How will we do that? Because we are searching, and some people have +1 to search rolls because Marion happens to be traveling with this lovely little dove. I guess she gives her a bird's eye view of things, and she actually has a chance of finding something. So let's have her roll a d10 and see if we get lucky. We need a perfect roll. That was not it. It was a 2. So no special item for us, but that's all right. That's all right. We will pick up 6 coins apiece. We only took 1 point of damage, so I feel like that's a pretty good deal. Is there anything else that we have to do for this skirmish? Let's check our little book here. Again, we are spooked. So I wonder if that stays with us. Pass nerve 5 at the end of any combat. Well, I'm assuming now we would just keep rolling nerve 5 until we pass. So I'm going to say spook falls off of us. It seems like that maybe would stick more if we were in an actual encounter rather than a skirmish. So we're going to say that we're no longer spooked, having destroyed the restless spirits, and we are going to travel to Wayland's Point. Great. So it's still daytime. Marion's our leader, and she's going to bring us into Wayland Point, which is a new point in our story. Upon arriving at Wayland's Point, you find Argus at the Ancient Flask Tavern, sitting with his back to the corner by the cobblestone fireplace. His eyes are wide with fear, and his hand trembles as he raises his pewter mug to his lips. You cross the room to greet him, and a look of relief flashes across his sweaty and flushed features. Thank you for coming. I know death stalks the roads in Crummel. You've shown true friendship by even venturing to this point. But what I'm going to ask of you will test the limits of that bond. I have been cursed. Every time I close my eyes and drift off to sleep, I see a small candle burning in the corner of some ancient crypt. Then arms start reaching for me, and an ethereal voice sings of my death when the candle's flame is finally extinguished. This dream always ends when a skull-like visage of a ghost appears in the flickering light, and I awake in a cold sweat. As you can imagine, I'm not sleeping much these days. As the candle in my dream burns down, I even see it when I nod off during the day. Please help me. I beg of you, please help. I fear my time is running out. There's someone at the gypsy encampment just outside of town who may be able to help, but they won't talk to me due to this curse. Please talk to Vadoma. All right, so we are now able to use our town services and then follow up with Vadoma. Cool. So what does Wayland Point have to offer, you ask? All the towns offer pretty much the same services. Now remember, we only have a whopping 12 coin, so the chapel's available to us. We could pick up some blessings. Gypsy encampment, we were heading there, and that costs fortune roll. We can get some drinks at the inn. We can head to the market to buy a few items like a torch. I'm not sure what that would do. A physician, we could pick up some bandages, stables, tinkerers, and of course our own characters have things that they get to do at extra locations as well. These of course cost a ton of coin, so we probably won't be looking into any of these. I don't think there's really anything we need to do. We could pick up a blessing or two, but I think I'm going to save my money for now. We still have plenty of bandages. So let's just progress the story, shall we? A murder of crows squawks noisily from the thick oak trees outside the city where the brightly adorned wagons of the gypsies rest, a short distance off the road just outside of town. Between the wagons are a handful of large pavilion tents along with a few smaller ones. Men and women go about their chores while children play. A large man wearing a broad striped shirt and olive drab colored pantaloons approaches you with a warm smile and open arms. Welcome, travelers. I am Rignor. Are you here to trade? The mere mention of Argus's name slightly sours Rignor's expression. Please follow me to Vadoma's pavilion. Once inside the large tent, you are introduced to Vadoma, one of the elders of this group of gypsies. The tent has a series of small wooden benches situated around a central fire pit. Vadoma rises from the chair she was sitting in as Ragnar holds the tent flap and introduces you. Vadoma has an average build with black hair streaked with gray and gaunt facial features. Her skirt is a muted brown color. She wears a white blouse as well as a crimson and gold shawl. Gold jewelry adorns her ears, wrists, and fingers with her many bracelets rubbing together, ringing like distant dull bells as she greets you. Please sit down. I know why you're here. With the fire stoked, the smoke exiting through a steel funnel centered in the tent, Vadoma says, Argus and the darkness that taints him is known to us. He's a good man who's always dealt with us fairly, but I fear the curse he carries will abandon him when he's too weak to carry it any further and will inhabit another nearby soul. This is why we don't want him near our camp. I am willing to help, but there will be a price for your assistance. All right, our first choose your own adventure. With which path do we want to take? Choice 1, you offer money. She wears a lot of gold. Maybe she'll be interested in our 12 measly coins. You never know. You offer to help. All right, she's afraid the curse might travel on to somebody else. Maybe she would like our help. Or 3, you offer to leave without offering assistance. Okay, so which path do we want to take? And I think I'll let you all help me out on that decision. Indy and Marion, where are we heading? Shall we offer up money to the gypsies? Maybe we can buy ourselves out of this. Do we even want to try and take down a curse? Is that something we're interested in? Or should we leave without offering assistance? Maybe we can come back later when we're stronger and do it. Those are our 3 paths. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think. It looks like we have a little more searching to do within Wayland Point. And yep, then we have more choices to make. So I'm not going to turn the page and spoil it. But we have defeated our first monsters. We took out some restless spirits. We did it very well. Oh, I should note that the little aura, oops, we lost our little bird, didn't we? The little aura that Marion has, it's once per encounter that she can give herself this little bonus. We were in a skirmish, so I couldn't use that, unfortunately. And I didn't want to use any of the other cards because they cost PowerPoints, and what's the point? It was just a restless spirit. But I think we've done rather well. We still can't have any companions yet anymore. That's the only thing that's lingering on us. We have a little bit of coin, not a lot, but a little bit of coin, and our first choice. Help with the curse. Maybe donate some money toward buying off the curse, or moving on to something different. Let me know your thoughts. Which way shall we go next? For part 3 of our playthrough. Can't wait to go a little further. All right, guys. Talk to you soon.